Your biggest transformation in 2026 will come from redirecting your energy inward rather than focusing on external validation or what other people think about you or how you appear in front of other people. Instead of comparing yourself to others and watching other people, it's time to look inward and to focus on yourself and to keep things private, to keep things to yourself and to the things that truly matter in your life. You gotta know that the moment that you stop watching other people is the moment that your life starts to change. If you want 2026 to be different from how 2025 went, no matter where you started, no matter where you left off, the time is now, and this is where it starts. And also know that your transformation will not happen if you keep watching or focusing on everyone else. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace, and this is where I talk all things self-improvement. Talk about things that we can do to elevate ourselves and also to improve 1% better every single day. So before we dive into anything else, I think one of the first things we need to understand why we focus on other people rather than ourselves. I think looking at the stage in society that we are in, most of our typical environments, there's a lot of comparison culture going around. We're always on our phones, scrolling on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and we're always looking at other people's lives. And I think that a lot of influencers, a lot of celebrities, the way that they portray their lives on social media is by always portraying the good sides, the positive sides, the successful, the happy sides. But no one, of course, really likes to portray like what kind of like some of the struggles that they're going through. So it's very normal. We have a tendency to only show the best sides of ourselves and always see and compare other people's best versions of themselves to our own lives. And because of social media and because of this kind of like culture that we've cultivated like online, this has triggered a lot of us wanting validation, wanting to also have those nice things and also foregoing those any sort of like imperfection in our lives and becoming insecure about ourselves. We always have a fear of being behind because we see other people having successful like businesses, ventures, financial freedom, or happy families, happy relationships, but we don't really know what's truly going on behind the scenes. And of course, whenever we feel the most uncertain, we will always look outward. It's one of our human tendencies to do so. Most of us don't focus on others because we're insecure. We do it because we're unsure. And when you focus on external things for too much without paying attention to yourself and to your own needs and to your basic values and to your basic self, unknowingly there's going to be some shifts. You'll see a lot of your energy is being drained. You'll see a lot of stunted growth. You'll see a lot of delayed growth. There's going to be a lot of loss of clarity. There's going to be a lot of self-doubt. There might be a lot of anxiety as well. There's a certain power of focusing on yourself. This is, at this point, a skill that you have to learn. A lot of people don't learn this skill until later in life. When you focus on yourself, you become empowered. You build self-trust. You build that trust in yourself. You start to make decisions and form your own opinions based on yourself rather than having to always ask other people for their own opinions before you make a decision. You gain a lot more confidence, you gain a lot more clarity in terms of your direction, in terms of your purpose. Each of your movements, they also stem from confidence. There are some people, and in terms of like some people, this was also myself before, that when I was outside, whenever I was doing something, like people can tell that I'm insecure. People can tell from the way that I speak, the way that I move, the way that I walk, that there's something about her that she's a little bit unsure of herself. But when you start looking from within, when you start really like stop caring about what other people think and what other people are doing, you regain that confidence, you regain that clarity, and you trust yourself that whatever you choose to do, whatever you're doing, that you know how to take responsibility for yourself, for your actions, for your words. And you're not letting yourself down, by the way, either. You know, there are a lot of people talking in terms of like the self-development world. A lot of people talk about like being unbothered, being detached. It's all part of that category. This creates momentum in terms of your self-growth, your self-development, becoming a better version of yourself, a higher 2.0 version of yourself. And this allows you to attract better things in your life instead of chasing after them. Because people are naturally attracted to those who feel secure, to those who feel grounded, who emanate confidence. People want to learn from you. People like being around you because of your grounded nature, of your personality, the energy and the vibes that you give. And I know this in my own life too. The more I focus on myself, the quieter, the more peaceful my life became. Some people are like naturally like drama in their life, but when there's so much drama, there's so much ruckus, there's so much noise that you let into your own life, you see that you can't really focus on yourself. You can't really stay grounded and work on yourself and really be able to do all those necessary things without like a bunch of like when you let a lot of noise into your life, it just doesn't work well that way. It doesn't combine. And the quieter the noise gets, the more clear that your direction and your path becomes. So when you're thinking about transforming into a better person, into a higher version of yourself in 2026, or you want certain aspects of your life to upgrade in this next year, first you got to determine the pace that you can go at. You got to determine, like right now, I'm at this point, but I want my 2026 to end in this point. For example, it could be an elevation in your career. You want a higher paying job. You want to start a new business. You want to grow your certain life or career finances. You want to upgrade it when you want things to be different. You got to determine what your goal is or what kind of area of growth that you want to see in your life. And after that, you got to start creating those routines. What would the higher version of myself be doing? If I'm waking up at like 12 p.m. in the afternoon every single day, is the higher version of myself that has this job, that has this career, that has this relationship, that has this family, or that has this type of health, would they be doing the same things? Would the more fit, the healthier version of myself, would they be eating a bunch of sugar, a bunch of oil every single day? Or would they be eating more nutritious, nourishing meals? And also know that there is progress that you cannot rush. You cannot rush yourself into these routines. You cannot rush yourself into becoming better. You have to heal. You have to heal yourself. You have to understand your inner traumas. You have to understand what was the reason that you are stuck where you are, or you are acting the way that you are, or the way that you're living right now. You got to understand the core issue, I'd say. It wouldn't be really an issue, but just understand yourself first. And because of this, because you're not rushing, a lot of people, they try to rush themselves into progress and they end up getting burnt out. They're like, you know what, new year, new goals, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds, and then the first, like, let's say week, they go to the gym every single day, they spend 1-2 hours there, and they easily get burnt out. They get tired, they get sore, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and they lose motivation. I mean, discipline is very important, but then there are healthier ways. There are softer ways to achieve your goals. And allow yourself, without that pressure, without that like, oh, I must do this, I must do that, I must be super extreme with everything. Allow yourself to step into those higher versions, into those higher mindsets, into that fitter body, into that more relaxed mind, or into that better career. Allow yourself to step into it rather than just pressuring yourself and hustling every single day. I mean, it's different from working hard, but like having that like pressure kind of hustle is not the best way or the healthiest way to go. There were times I remember, especially in college, where I was studying like 20 credit semesters, so that would be like 6 or 7 classes per semester, and I was also working super hard in my business. My calendar was blocked every single day, from morning to evening. I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't eating well. I was basically up from 8 a.m. going to classes throughout the day, and then in the evening I had my calendar booked with business meetings and business calls until like 1 or 2 a.m., even sometimes 3 a.m. So a lot of days I wouldn't sleep until 3 a.m. and then I would have to wake up at like 7 a.m. To go either go to class or to go work a part-time job or something like that. And I just remember I was so burnt out. Even though I was very like motivated, I had my goals that I wanted to achieve, and I knew that I was confident in my work ethic, and I knew that I needed to push myself in order to accomplish my goals. But long term, after a few months of living that kind of lifestyle, my body just couldn't keep up, and it's just not the long-term solution to go with. But the moment that I started to step back a bit, not saying that I started doing less work, I started to manage my time better. I started to learn how to outsource, learn how to work more with people instead of just wanting to control everything and just take everything on my plate, but asking for help. And also just blocking out necessary times in my schedule, my weekly schedule, my monthly schedule actually, to take those time and go do things that don't require like always like hustling, like going like even like the simple things like going out for walks or going for swims or just relaxing with friends. Like those are something when you're like too caught up in the hustle, those are sometimes things that you forget to do, and basically like nurture everything else in your life besides your career and besides your work and your school and your classes and your job and you know everything associated with that. One of the habits and one of the practices that I've been implementing recently is to limit social media. um I didn't even realize that I was spending so much time on social media, and I think a lot of us actually like we just tend to spend a lot of time on social media because there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Twitter, there's just so much out there like going on. And whenever I feel tired, you know, I just want to like relax, or just lay in bed and or just on my slouched on my couch, and then just we just have a tendency like open up my phone and just start scrolling. But the moment I started like limiting myself, like catching myself feeling like, oh, I think I'm spending a little bit too much time on social media. I think my brain is starting to get a little like frantic because one thing I saw, it's like our nowadays our minds, they're still not evolutionized enough to the point where we can consume so much information in such a short time frame. And that is something that social media is kind of like haywiring our brains, because we keep scrolling, each reel has different information, has different content, and we don't even realize the effect that it's having on our brains and our attention spans. Limit the amount of time that you're spending on social media, and that also allows you to limit the amount of comparison that you're having towards other things on social media too. But even if you do the time that you do spend on social media, you'll still see a lot of very pretty, very aesthetic, very successful content. Just know that that is other people's lives that they're living, and you admire them, you respect them. Whatever you need to do, whatever you consume, whatever you watch, don't judge them in a way that makes you feel inferior about yourself. Just understand that that is someone else's life, and you could use it as like, okay, those are my goals, those are my aspirations, but you don't need to feel any less about yourself and your journey and your process because of someone else. And I think it's ultimately like choosing one thing every single day that kind of like grounds you, having that like wake up call, or having that just like a few minutes each day. Ask yourself, what do you need to do today? What is one thing that you want to improve in yourself today? Or what is one thing, like at the end of the day, ask yourself, what is one thing I have improved? And if today you feel like, okay, I didn't have as much progress as I wanted to, what can I do tomorrow? What can I change tomorrow in order to make myself feel better about myself, let's say. And ultimately, it's just really important to refocus on yourself. You don't need to be ahead of anyone else. The only person you need to be ahead of is kind of like the older versions of yourself. Even if you feel like you haven't really improved as much in like your past like seasons of your life, but just know that there's always time, there's always opportunities, as long as you allow those opportunities into your life, and as long as you keep aligning yourself with the higher version of yourself. Your journey is allowed to look different. It's supposed to be different from everyone around you. No one's journey is going to be the same. And just know that this next year, 2026, is what you make it. It can be about becoming, if you actually want to become, if you're actually willing to do those things and make those actions and become that person that you want to become. But that doesn't start with comparing yourself to other people. But yeah, I just have a short video for you guys today. Just wanted to talk something that I really been working on myself as well. Just not to compare myself to anyone else, even anyone older than me, same age as me, younger than me. There's no use in comparison. But it's really important to stay in tune with yourself, your own growth, your own journey, your own life, your own relationships, and of course your self-love and your self-worth. But thank you so much for watching. And if you resonated with anything, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment. But yeah, thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.